Hey guys, my name is Will, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit more about identity politics, about how a lot of us have the same lifestyle, and how we can see that there's a lot more in common, and also how I bettered myself, um, just my personal experience and what worked for me specifically. As far as identity politics go, I know that the biggest problem that we have is defining what's wrong and what's right, because we're always going to assume that the other person's wrong and you're right. But I think if the sooner we can get ourselves out of this right and left, the sooner you can get yourself out of the identity of being on the right side or the left side, and instead replacing it more with the good side and the bad side. And again, that kind of conflicts with when I say most people on the right perceive the left being wrong and the left perceiving the right being wrong as well. But there's a little bit more that we can do about it rather than just basing off of some policies or uh, whatever legislation the left is pushing or the right is pushing. We can actually dig a little bit deeper to prevent ourselves from getting caught up in changing who we are because of politics, identity politics, basically. That if you're on the left, people can assume a lot, and if you're on the right, people can assume a lot as well. But if you really think about it, it's not about whether or not you think a specific scenario is right or wrong, whether or not you think thousands of dollars to get an animal out of a well is a good idea versus someone else thinking it's not a good enough idea because it's taking a lot of food or money or whatever out of people that need it rather than an animal. It's because that gets too complicated. I'm sure that a lot of people can argue that it'd be good to save anything at any opportunity. I agree with that, but I'm trying to say that we can base our good and evil off our own emotions, and it makes it a lot easier to kind of communicate with people in that sense. So when I say good and bad, it's more about your behavior, your attitude, and what you do about it, your actions. So basically, my behavior towards someone disagreeing with me shouldn't be, this is the part that I say bad, shouldn't be bad. It should be good. If someone disagrees with me, I can see that as constructive criticism, an open-minded idea about something else that I didn't see before, and I can accept that maybe I didn't see it. Our attitude is a big part of that as well. If I want to go into a conversation with someone because I disagree with them, I have to have a good attitude, not a bad attitude. And that's easy to identify because you should know yourself enough to know what kind of an attitude you have. I mean, if you get a chance to actually stop and think about what you're doing and what you're saying. Uh, Another one I'd say is definitely actions is the biggest one because you actually got a chance to stop, uh, check your behavior, find out what attitude you're bringing to the table, and now act upon it. So someone might disagree with me and I really don't like it. And so I start out maybe with a bad behavior, but then I get a chance to think about it so I can change my attitude and have an action of response by saying, well, I see your point of view. Can you help me understand a bit more? People aren't entirely used to that, and it gives them a chance to really uh, it gives them a chance to have a platform so they can actually share their ideas. And in turn, usually, not all the time, so don't always expect it just because you did it, they're going to do it. But usually the favor is returned and you get an opportunity to kind of mutually agree or disagree. But the fact that you guys respected each other, didn't cut each other off, didn't assume that someone didn't know something or is dumber, you got a chance to like articulate what you're trying to say. That's because of your action. Your action allowed that person to do that. Now, going into trying to get out of politics, I would say again that is really important. I would say as far as trying to get yourself out of a right or left and putting yourself more into a good or bad, because then you can start seeing a lot more. Again, once you start allowing the person to talk, you give that person respect and you treat that person very seriously, just like you would want to be treated. I know it sounds like common sense, but that's the point. It's common. It's something that people can relate to. It's the idea that we all, I know I said this before in the other video, but it's true that we all have a very common way of living. we all do things in a very specific pattern that most people can agree with. That's the funny thing about comedians and jokes and stuff. It's not so much that someone said a funny joke about, I don't know, something dumb like a butt or a fart or something like that. That can be funny, but the reason it's funny is because it's somewhat relatable. That's what makes it the most funny. When you can hear other people laugh and you feel understood, you feel this feeling of sensation, and it's hilarious, and you got nothing but joy. So laughter is usually the way to go, and tons of smiling. So I think people can really, really have an easy time with this, and getting rid of a lot of these uh, identity views on each other, and really, one would be uh, taking each other seriously and making sure that their opinion is important to you if they mean enough to you, and that if you're willing to listen, most likely they're going to be wanting to hear what you have to say afterwards. And again, you don't have to agree, but it's the idea that you allowed each other to speak that makes all the difference in the world. It gives them a totally different view, gives yourself a totally different view, because again, they may surprise you and gift you the same stuff in return. You know, you might get it back, and you would be just as surprised, just like I am. Like I do it as much as I can. I don't always do it, but I try to practice what I preach, and when I do it and I receive it, it's still a surprise. You know, I mean, it's such a good thing, and we don't have enough of it. So I think that's something that we can all practice. It's very simple, it's very easy, it's going to make things easier in your life, I assume, because it is for me. And you know, it goes into always looking to better yourself too. So like, what I did specifically to better myself is I cleared my conscience. I wanted as much space in my brain to be able to just enjoy where I am. And this is what I did. I deleted the apps. Basically, I just went on my phone, I deleted the YouTube app, and I deleted the Facebook app. Now the cool thing about this is I'm not saying completely shut yourself out from family, from news, or from entertainment, because the greatest thing about the internet here, see, is that you can just type it into the browser. But the thing is, you give yourself that amount of space, you give yourself that gate that you have to open. You have to go into the web browser and you have to type it in. It doesn't work as well as the app, but you can still get out of it what you need and what you want. Connecting with family members, friends, posting what you want, and also on YouTube, getting some free time to jump on there and look at stuff as well. But you don't have that tendency to wake up and immediately turn on YouTube, because it's just a button away. Excuse me, just a button away. Because when you use it on the browser, it basically, you know, it takes away tons of the functions. So you're not really um, you're not really addicted to it. You're not really trying to like put one video down and search for another. It won't allow you to do that. So you get what you want, but it kind of gives you the freedom to go back to have your day. And basically what that does for me is it allows me to live in the moment. And I know everybody misses that. I know everybody misses the long hours and long days and having somewhat more of an unexpected scenario tomorrow, rather than knowing that you're going to wake up, look at YouTube, check your Facebook, and do your very specific thing every single day. So getting some of this stuff off your back really helps in a lot of ways. It gives you a little bit more confidence on your own opinion. You're speaking to people a lot more than you think you'd have to, because you're not distracted by this instant entertainment, instant gratification, instant news, instant, lots of instants, but no experience. So like that's the problem that I think a lot of people are having. And I think that the only thing I would suggest, those are just my personal things, what I've done and what's helped me. But then if I were to suggest anything to anyone, it'd basically be give yourself the credit. Always give yourself the credit. You deserve it. And never, ever pass up an opportunity to give someone else credit. It's going to make a world of difference around you. It's going to make your life a whole lot nicer. It'd be impossible if that wasn't the case, because nobody frowns at someone saying you did a great job today. And I really think we need more encouragement. I think we need people to feel important again. We need people to know that they're worth something. So with that being said, I have one suggestion. Maybe to start your day out, try listening to the Ecstasy of Gold by Metallica. It's a really cool song. It'll get you motivated through the day. And other than that, you guys keep staying safe, keep your distance, and hope to talk to you guys soon again. Have a good one.